at the age of 29, I was training for the New York Marathon when I developed a rare tumor in my leg. It was in my thigh area. And I was a little bit in denial because I'd gone to the doctor and they felt it was an extra muscle. I'd had MRIs and they just didn't see anything substantial. But it ended up that it started growing rapidly, and then I ended up being diagnosed with cancer. As soon as I found out I had the cancer, I obviously had to stop training for the New York Marathon, and it was a very aggressive sarcoma. So the physicians suggested I take a chemotherapy cocktail. And as soon as I took the drugs, within 6 hours, my feet started flopping and I had trouble walking and I had a lot of difficulty with my hands. I took 3 drugs, Cytoxin, vincristine, and adriamycin. Those 3, 2 of them are contraindicated, adriamycin and vincristine. Vincristine is lethal to give somebody with a family history of CMT, or if they have CMT, because exactly what happened to me most likely will happen to another person. Thank God I've been fine since from the cancer, but the neuropathy I've never recovered from. We ended up getting a team of doctors to discuss what had gone down, and then somebody said, CMT, this is directly related. You must have Charcot-Marie-Tooth. I was happy to know, finally, I have this condition, but it was sad because I knew that I wasn't going to get better. The first time I had heard of CMT, which is Charcot-Marie-Tooth, was when I was a child. My father has the condition, and he always had an awkward gait. We had no idea that my father had a genetic disease. It was never talked about. Typically, CMT is a slowly progressive disorder, but for me, it was 25 years of progression in one day. If you don't get an accurate diagnosis of Charcot-Marie-Tooth, there's a chance that you can live a very long life with mild symptoms. Majority of people, though, will develop some debilitating symptoms, and usually it's pain, gait disturbances, and foot deformities. When I went in to see the doctors and they examined me, they did ask me a couple questions, which I thought were a little odd. They'd ask me, you know, have my ankles always been so slender? Have I always had such a high arched foot? And when they had asked me to walk on my heels, I really couldn't walk on my heels. I had difficulty. And in my medical records, it did say that there was a family history of CMT, but again, I was so naive. I was unaware that this disease was genetic. And when this all happened with the chemotherapy, even then, I don't know if they were aware. They just kept saying that it was a side effect of the chemotherapy. They call it drop foot. If a patient comes in and says there's a family history of Charcot-Marie-Tooth, it's their duty, I feel, to explore it further. And it may be difficult at times, but it's the right thing to do, because there's many patients out there that know that there's something not right, but they can't put their finger on it. And the pediatrician or the general practitioner is not looking for that. It would have been nice to know that I had the condition, because I could have avoided what had happened to me. Right now I'm wearing leg braces, I probably wouldn't be, and my life would be very different. It is the biggest disease no one's ever heard of, and it's time that the world recognize this disease, and it is as common, if not more common, than muscular dystrophy and some of the other neuromuscular diseases. Because it does start in infancy, we owe it to these families to take care of these innocent people that are being born with a genetic disease. It's the physicians that can help, because that's the only people that are going to be able to recognize the problem early on, and there's lists of questions that would actually give you a pretty good indication of whether it's potentially one of the CMTs. Their information is there, so they need to learn that this disease exists, because it's stated that there's only 1 in 2,500 people affected by it, but the experts would tell you it's 2.6 million people worldwide, maybe more. The thing that's so sad for me is if the diagnosis is there and you get to the right experts, you can avoid some of the severe symptoms that develop over time. And you just need to find the right people to take care of you. And that goes both physically and emotionally. I think where I did get a lot of help was getting counseling. I saw a therapist. I ended up getting these amazing state-of-the-art leg braces. My whole world changed. I became so active again. I did physical therapy for 3 years, and that was critical to helping me get strong again after the chemo, but also to maintain and learn how to adapt with CMT. In 2001, I decided to start a foundation, and it's called the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation. Our mission is to find treatments and a cure for CMT, and we're very active in bringing awareness and getting people diagnosed. My destiny is to cure this disease, and I think working with patients and being extremely involved has been just amazing. By building a successful foundation and having an incredible husband and kids, and family and friends, that my life is just amazing, and I really wouldn't change it. If I wasn't diagnosed today, I think it would be extremely debilitating, and I would not be who I am. So the diagnosis actually was a gift for me.